I don't know if the stream works. It was having some drop frames issues. Fight milk is working now. Hopefully it will work now. Right, hopefully. Captain Boss Atsuki, what's up? What's up? I'm hoping it'll work as it is. I'm gonna have the stream up on. Let's see if it bugs out. I don't know. Hopefully it won't bug out. I mean, it was giving me a lot of warning signals, so. Yeah, there was lots of freezes before. I don't know why, but. Goddamn, that's some hot coffee. Alright, so. Hey, Miguel. You didn't contact me, by the way, Miguel. I didn't hear anything. Hey Amir, what's up? So I'm gonna sketch a little bit of diesel punk, and I wanna sketch out a tank at the moment. I have this IP kind of idea. It kind of ties into what I was talking about yesterday, that I wanna start contributing to the, like, why am I being creative? What's the purpose of me being a creative, right? And so I want to start working towards a goal of sorts. So one of the goals, I think, that has been percolating in the Miguel, all right, cool. Captain Boss, what IP? I can show you. It's not like anything concrete, like I said, like I talked about yesterday. I don't have a nugget that I can show to someone saying, like, hey, listen, this is the idea, which is one of the reasons why I do want to work on it. But here is some of them. I think I have a few more, but right. Well, the idea is there is there's a hidden subclave of the Nazis, right, in the underground, inside Earth, and they all have to wear these kind of pressure suits and so on. So I want to get that idea up to a point where it is that nugget, where I can show anyone that I can show anyone, and they will go, oh yeah, okay, I get it, I get this idea, right? And I think for my future, that is where, which I have worked towards, is IP generating service or skill set, right? So that's gonna be like my underlying goal, I think, this year, is to help push my skill set and understanding of IP generating content, right? Like that. I want to be able to have that nugget to show people, like, here you can see I understand the full process. I can create concepts, consistent concepts within one IP, and at the same time developing the IP, right? So that nugget I can show anyone, and they'll go, okay, I understand the game or the idea. I understand you. I understand your process, right? And if I don't have that extremely clear and evident, is it cutting out again? Well, I can't really do anything about the cutting out frames, unfortunately. Yeah, IP is intellectual property, and that is more or less a unique set of solutions to ideas that you can say, based on those collection of solutions, that's my idea, right? And in that return, you can say, like, hey, that's my IP, or that's not my IP, based on those simple parameters of, this is my world, right? Versus this is your world. And I want to practice that ability to create within a set parameters of rules, and being creative within those rules, right? I think that's going to be my goal for this year, is to like, based on the talk I had yesterday, like about, you have to consider why you're creating, and it's important to do those artistic push-ups, but it's also important to make something out of that strength that you build, right? Hey, Quo. Captain Boss. Yeah, you should. I mean, you should listen. Fight Milk. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is what I do already. For a lot of clients, I do art direction, and then there's a lot of overlapping. Hey, the real Berminator, Bjorn Numator. Happy New Year's. Fight Milk. I mean, there is a lot of overlaps. You can definitely say there's a lot of overlaps because of the fact that if you develop an IP, if you alone develop an IP, being developing an intellectual property, you have to be the person that decides, what it should look like. Yeah. Hey, Akagria, cheers for that. 21, look at that. Thank you very much, Akagria. But yeah, so the difference is, when you develop an IP, if you are the only person developing the IP, you gotta also decide story, tone, storyboards, all those things that usually a lot of people work on when it's in a full IP, already established. but more or less is like you're a storyteller, right? You're developing the IP by being an art director, story writer, director, producer, all in one, right? And by that is what I mean is like if you're going to be the producer, you're going to have to have a roadmap. You know, you need to hit these, you need to tick these boxes as you move forward. Are the project moving at the correct direction? While you as the artist, you are the art director and the concept artist at the same time, where you have to decide, are the shapes correct, are the colors correct, are the tone correct, are the textures correct, and you also have to explore all those aspects, right? Should I have more color, less color? What does that look like? And then you need to draw it, and you need to explore it, and you need to understand it. Hey, Cupido, what's up? Captain Bose. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 5 images can definitely be enough. Um, if you manage to tell what needs to be told in 5 images and story in between, that's great. The idea based on yesterday's talk, which I kind of, ranted about, is that you need to be able, like, the long story short, yesterday I said, you have to do your push-ups, and you can't, on a talent show, go on to the talent show and do push-ups, right? Nobody cares. They're like, all right, great. You did some push-ups. Why should we bother, right? There's no connection. There's no story. So you do push-ups and you practice acrobatics, blah, blah, blah. And then when you do your talent show, you do your acrobatic number, right? But you had to do your push-ups so that you actually had the strength to do your acrobatic number, and also your stretch and whatever, So it's the same based on the idea of with art. You have to do your push-ups. You have to have the upper body strength. You have to have the artistic understanding of what you're doing. What blah blah blah. All these things, and in that term, you boil it down into a nugget of information. Whatever that nugget is up to each and one of us. Like art book, comic book, novel, character design sheets, whatever. But you have to practice and then showcase it present it in such a way that anyone looking at it has an understanding of your skill set and ability and whatever this little project is, right? So that's what is called the nugget. And that can be anything, right? Whatever you want to show in the talent show. It's an open mic talent show. So one of those, what I want to do is IP develop. And yeah, Fight Milk. It's an early step in the same process of creating a game. You always develop the IP before you go into full production. You can't go into full production with, let's say, 400 people when you don't know the direction, you don't know the scope, the limits. So usually what happens when you pitch an IP, I've pitched many IPs and I've helped a lot of studios pitch their IPs, right? Is one of those things that I happen to be not an expert in, but the skill set I have lends itself really well to IP development and pitch work, right? Because I can rapidly create art, and I have a good imagination, so that whatever they need, they can iterate the idea without me having a hard time understanding what they need, right? So I can't, you know, so that I don't, with my own limitations, can't create what they want to see, right? Because they want to see something new, and if I can't bend that far, what's the use of using me, right? So one of those abilities I do have is the ability to bend artistically to whatever they need, and I also can provide whatever they don't know they need based on my experiences and skill sets, right? So, for example, I helped greenlight the Division IP, right? And I created a set of images, and they had this rough idea about what they wanted, and I provided images that supported their narrative, supported their story. They then went to pitch the idea, that nugget of information, right, to the higher ups. They could see all the information in there in terms of tone, story, visuals, blah blah blah, and they would go, the higher ups, they would go, yes, that's a great idea. Let's go forward with this idea. It's strong enough, unique enough. We can see the potential of it moving forward, right? And then they actually took the IP that I helped create with them visually. I mean, I had more of a visual aid in that term, in that sense, but I did contribute with narrative elements in my visual exploration that in the end ended up in the game. But anyways, they then continued to develop the idea, you know, tightening the screws of what they should look like, what's kind of technology. So the higher ups with the money said, this idea as it is cool, we want to move forward with it, now make it better, right? So you have to try to figure out, boil down what it is that they liked, what it is that we like, how do we want to move forward with it, you know, what's going to be cool in 5 years, all these things, right? What's the competition looking like? What's the story? What's the visuals? And then they harness, or they tighten the screws. They push the envelope on the directions they decide, and then after that, when the art direction is signed off, when the story is signed off, then they start moving towards production, where they go, okay, we need 4 factions, 10 soldiers in each faction. This is the general idea, is that they are garbage disposal criminals, right? And then you actually understand where the garbage disposal sits within the whole scope, and then you define with the art director the visuals for that, right? So it is game development, but you have a massive bag of unlimited potential, and then you go shake, shake, shake. What's the idea? So the skill set is of IP development is your ability to have all these unlimited possibilities, and you practice boiling them down into a set amount of possibilities, so that you instead of having you know, of just noise, you actually have consistency. Try to have a hierarchy of information, hierarchy of shapes, hierarchy of visuals, hierarchy in the story, so that you can go, okay, the story is about, you know, in this instance, Nazis in the underground, and Americans going in to fight them, to stop them from growing, right? And then in that basic principle, you can start developing the idea, right? Why are they looking the way they're looking? Why is it Nazis? Why is it Americans? And then you know, then you take the next step. What happens when where are they fighting? Are they fighting in subterranean cavities in Middle Earth, in the Middle Earth, right, in the inside of the Earth? All right. So what does that look like? Why are they there? And that ties into story, ties into narrative, ties into visuals, all these things, right? So then you have to consider, is it the right moves? Is it the right idea? How can I make this interesting? And you develop it, and you consider options, you discard options. You have to have the ability to go, I love this idea, but it won't fit, so it has to die. Even though you yourself love the idea, it might not be the best for IP. French, yesterday you listened to talk about freelance. Moist pink taco. Yeah. Relax. Rest your head on the pillow. French. Yeah, the thing is with that, right, is with freelance, it requires you to understand production pipeline, and by that is the decisions being made, the requirements of what you're doing. You have to understand how meetings work, hierarchy works, the fact that you are not the only one making decisions as an artist in a studio, and all these things, right? And as a freelancer, fresh freelancer without any in-studio experience, you have no idea how that works. And you can learn it as a freelancer, but most of the cases you are absolutely 100% free from that experience, because they are not going to invite a freelancer in a Skype call. Let's say 90% of the cases, they won't invite, 95% of the cases, they won't invite you to a Skype call within the meeting so that you yourself can sit in on that meeting and listen and be a part of the discussion, right? You as a freelancer, you are only getting the trickle down information that's boiled down between many discussions in the team with all the positions within the studio that has a say in the matter. And then they discuss, they talk, and then they say to the art director, we need this, right, to move forward. And then the art director either gives it to an internal artist or you as a freelancer. And then you as a freelancer only get this concise nugget of information, what's required of you. And you create it, you have that interaction with the art director, but you have no idea where that discussion leads after you provide the image, until they go, yeah, we need these changes. And as a freelancer, you might not understand why they're making those decisions, what the person that you give the art to will do with it. You know, yes, they go to a 3D artist, but what is a 3D artist looking for? Blah, blah, blah. You know, animator from that 3D artist, you know, the animator is going to take over. It's going to rig, it's going to animate it. The sound guy is going to, you know, like all these steps. And as a freelancer, you're just doing art. Which, you know, is a problem if you don't understand what's needed for game development. I mean, as a art illustrator, it's arbitrary. It doesn't matter. You're just making a pretty picture. But if you're any way or form connected to game development, you need to be well aware of that pipeline. And that's why a lot of people say, you know, freelance after the fact, not before. Get the experience in a studio so you know how the discussions are going, you know, all these things. That's why people are saying, you know, go in-house first. I explode. Um, Black Boys, I enjoy concepting. Hey Mel, what's up? What's up? What's up? Fight Milk to ask, but how much of that end product will be, as in game, movie, graphic novels, blah blah, shifts the approach in the earlier stages in the pipeline? There's always going to be a shift. There's always going to be a difference. One of the reasons is because in a team, everyone has their input. Everyone interprets the something regardless. You know, there will always have a slightly different take on it. You know, this whisper game that there is, you know, there's 100 people. The first person says, you know, the blue car smells like cheese. And then they do a hand gesture, right? And then they go to person 99. The blue car smells like cheese, and then they do a hand gesture. After those 100 people, the last person will say like, "Blue is the sky," and then nod, you know, and completely forgot the hand gesture because it has warped through 100 people. You can only say it once, and they can hear it, and then it's their turn to say it, right? So. And the fact that they've only said one sentence to each other within 5 minutes, traveling that sentence through 100 people, and is already distorted and different. So, for example, what an art director does, or a director does, or any lead, or a producer or manager goes, let's say, every 10 steps, every 10 person in that whisper game, they listen in and go, hey, no, we're talking about cars here, right? And it's a blue car. And then they go, oh, all right. But there's still going to be their personal interpretation, their personal way of saying it. And it's the same goes with concept art or an idea or thing, right? In a team of 400 people making a game, there's bound to be interpretations and differences and sliding of focus or so that's why, for example, IP development and breaking it something down really well beforehand is really important, and a strong art direction and an art bible that you can go, hey, listen, these are the shapes, these are the colors, this is the idea, these are the factions, they are like this because of that. And so as soon as you stray, you can go, hey, okay, let's roll back. We need to tick these boxes, right? But sometimes, a lot of times, they go, okay, hey, listen, we're straying off target. And then everyone goes, yeah, but we like the fact that it's not on target. We like this direction a lot more. Then you have to consider, okay, is it worth fighting for? Should I shoot the idea down? Or is it a valid point they're making that they enjoy this different direction better? And then you have a meeting, and then you have discussions, and then you go, all right, should we shift? What happens if we shift focus? What cost will that make us project-wise, time-wise? and everyone goes, yeah, it's a valid decision to make. We got to shift because according to all our experiences in different fields, it's probably the most correct way of doing it. And then they reset, and then it costs money, and then you know, that's all part of the business of creating something with more than one person in a team. But as a freelancer, you have no idea about that. You're just getting concept. Black Boys, I have 100. The brush transfer of pressure is just how much I push. And in Wacom settings, I've changed the curve so that at the end of the brush stroke or the pressure, it ramps up, so I don't need to destroy my hand to push to get to the deepest value. So the start of the range of the curve is slower, so that I need to press. There's a wider range of me pressing to get the finer details in the beginning, and the more I press, the harder the value goes to black, so that I can do finer details values, and then it goes quickly to black without a lot of effort, because it's really easy to destroy your hand at the roof of the hand by having to push too much. I'm here, yeah. The real Burminator. Yeah, I think it's a good it's a valid thing, because a lot of people, especially line artists, they destroy their hands. They get carpal, is it carpal tunnel or RSI very easily, because they constantly what's it called, claw their hand. Yeah, so that was my continuation of yesterday's topic of the rant. The idea is to develop this IP. I have a few other ones. Make them into these nuggets that you could pitch, so that they can look at it and go, okay, we understand it, we want to put money into it, or we understand it, we want to buy it from you and develop it on our end. Right? That's the goal of this year, is to up my ability to do that as a skill set. So that's one of the reasons why I want to make my fantasy art book, which I hopefully will be out this year. Is the same principle of developing an IP of sorts, or where that would be more of an art direction type thing for that dark fantasy art book. But it's the same principle of making a nugget of something that I can show to someone, and they will go, all right, okay, I get it, I get what you're doing, I get who you are, or whatever, you know. Yeah, I explode and respawn constantly, so I look solid, but I'm actually... Right, so that's it. A quick little diesel punk tank. I kind of like the idea, but it's messy. I need to revise it. The shapes, especially the legs, aren't correct. I will definitely change that. But anyways, Ice Die. Oh, you're back in Iceland. That's cool. Thank you, boss. Let's raid someone. Warmix. making some moves. There is not a lot of people online. Oh, live drawing. Cool. Let's raid that person then. Captain Boss, yeah, the legs are off. Fight milk. Well, I'm glad you like it. It's a good thing that you like it. So usually what happens is after the counter reaches stop, I will raid someone. I will do the outro before we raid, so don't go anywhere. See you guys tomorrow at the same time. We'll do the next episode. Have a good one, everyone. Good night. Have a great day. Bye.